When William Harley first began drawing plans for an engine, it wasn't for a fire-breathing cruiser. In fact, cruisers were decades away. William was designing a motor to be used in a bicycle frame. Though the first Harley was essentially an underpowered motor bicycle, the die had been cast for an iconic American brand that would endure through 2 world wars and the Great Depression to become as recognized as Coca-Cola and Nike. This is not strictly in some kind of chronological order, and there's going to be some errors. Without further ado, this is Harley-Davidson by numbers. 1. Construction of the first Harley-Davidson motorcycle began in 1901. See what I did there? 2. Two names make up the brand name: William S. Harley, Arthur Davidson. 3. Harley-Davidson's founding was official in 1903. See, I did it again. 116. The first Harley motor was 116 cc's. You could also measure that in cubic inches, but at 7 inches, it doesn't have the same impact as saying 350 or 440. It also had a 4-inch flywheel. 10 by 15. The second prototype was constructed in a shed that was 10 by 15 feet in area. 1904. There's going to be a lot of dates in here. The second prototype was functional by September 8, 1904. 1905. By April 1905, the boys had completed 5 complete bikes and sold 3 via Harley-Davidson dealer Carl H. Lang of Chicago. 1906. Harley and Davidson built their first factory on Chestnut Street, later Juneau Avenue, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where it still has offices today. 150. Harley-Davidson produced 150 motorcycles in 1907. Not bad considering mass production of motor vehicles as we know it to date was in its infancy. Also in 1907, William graduated from the University of Wisconsin with a degree in mechanical engineering. Harley-Davidson was officially incorporated. Harley-Davidson began selling motorcycles to police departments as they still do today, and they produced their first V-twin with a displacement of 880 cc's and a top speed of 60 miles an hour. 1149. By 1909, 1,149 motorcycles were built in the Wisconsin factory. 40 and 60. The first Juneau Avenue plant was a 40 by 60 single-story wooden structure. 16,284. 1914, the year before the start of World War I, saw 16,284 Harley-Davidson motorcycles produced. 20,000. During the First World War, the United States government purchased 20,000 Harley-Davidson motorcycles. 28,189. By 1920, Harley-Davidson was the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, with 28,189 produced. Also by that time, there were Harley-Davidson dealerships in 67 different countries. 1925. The iconic teardrop-shaped gas tank, so closely associated with cruiser-style motorcycles, was introduced to Harley-Davidson's lineup. The Great Depression. 3,703. Although Harley-Davidson survived the Great Depression along with Indian motorcycles, it didn't come out of the other side unscathed. Production fell from 21,000 in 1929 to 3,703 in 1933. 1936. The famous Knucklehead V-twin motor was introduced in 1936. World War II. 90,000. America's mighty industrial capacity was realized in World War II. The U.S. produced tens of thousands of tanks, ships, and airplanes for itself and its allies. Among those vehicles were 90,000 Harley-Davidson motorcycles, mostly the WLA model. 30,000. Of the 90,000 Harleys produced for World War II, 30,000 went to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease program. 1950. The start of the Korean War saw the need for Harley-Davidsons once again. Production of the WLA model was resumed from 1950 to 1952. 41.43. Harley-Davidson had gone public in 1965, but was beginning to feel the heat from Japanese competition in the motorcycle market. By 1968, Harley-Davidson was looking for cash. AMF, American Machine and Foundry, along with other conglomerates in the 1960s, was looking to acquire established companies to increase profit volumes. $41.43 per share was the value that AMF offered to swap with Harley-Davidson if the deal was closed. The deal was eventually finalized, ushering in what many do not so fondly remember as the AMF days. $238 million. Adjusting for inflation, AMF purchased Harley-Davidson for $238 million at 2022 rates. $60 million. The same year as Woodstock, another hippie icon was born. Prominently showcasing Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Easy Rider debuted on July 14, 1969, making $60 million worldwide on opening. $750. In 1969, Honda releases the CB750, a legendary design that would prove to be a serious threat to American motorcycle dominance in the domestic market. 400. 1975 would see the construction of the first Japanese motorcycle factory on U.S. soil. Prior to the production of the 400cc KZ400, all Japanese bikes were imported. 80 million. Harley-Davidson ownership changed hands once again in 1981, when a group of 13 investors, including the famous Von Bells and Willie G. Davidson, purchased the company for $80 million. 40. Whether you consider it Reaganomics or not, America's 40th president, Ronald Reagan, gave the go-ahead in 1983 for tariffs to be placed on large displacement imported motorcycles in the U.S. This protectionist move is hotly debated today. 1984. Bill Davis sells his sub-shock swing arm suspension design to HD the same year, 1984, that Madonna releases Like a Virgin. Variations of this system are used to produce the Softail series to this day. 29. The Harley-Davidson XR750 is known as the winningest model in motorcycle racing history, winning 29 of 37 AMA Grand National Championships from 1972 to 2008, and more than 500 individual event victories. 133. Evel Knievel's record of jumping 14 buses over 133 feet was also performed on a Harley XR750 in 1975. 32. One of the most popular Harley-Davidson models produced is the Fat Boy, and is still going strong to this day, having been produced for 32 years as of this video. 50. Harley-Davidson begins its association with Buell motorcycles in 1987 by supplying 50 XR1000 engines. 50 minus 1. In 1993, Harley bought 49% of Buell, eventually wholly owning the maker by 2003. 137,004. This is the total number of Buell bikes manufactured. To be fair and accurate to Harley-Davidson, some of these were produced independently before Buell was purchased. 22. After 22 years of association, Harley announces the decision to dissolve the Buell line. I'm not sure why, but they refused to sell the brand. Eric Buell continued development under the name Eric Buell Racing. As of 2022, Buell is back. But so far it seems like they're in that awkward 3D rendering phase. You can check out their plans on their website. Hopefully they'll make a comeback. 43. The 2008-2009 financial crisis hit Harley-Davidson hard, with the brand value falling by a massive 43%. The citation for that figure came from a Pravda article, so you can take it with a grain of salt. Either way, Harley, being basically a luxury brand, was heavily impacted. 75 million. In 2010, Harley begins motorcycle sales in India, eventually opening an assembly factory, only the second overseas Harley factory after Brazil, in 2011. Sadly, all Harley sales and production in India were halted in 2020 due to lack of demand and sales. This restructuring cost Harley-Davidson an estimated $75 million. 45. The classic Harley-Davidson V-twin motor is configured with a 45-degree angle between cylinders. 7. Different heads of Harley engines. By no means an exhaustive list of Harley engine types, the following are 7 monikers for classic Harley V-twins. The F-head, flathead, knucklehead, panhead, shovelhead, blockhead, and fathead. 6. There are 6 categories of Harley-Davidson motorcycles in the current lineup. Sport, including the famous Sportster. Cruiser, a large category including bikes like the Softail, Fat Boy, and Lowrider. Grand American Touring, including the Road King and Street Glide. Adventure Touring, a new category populated only by the brand new Pan America. Trike, a category made up of, you guessed it, trikes of various trim levels. And finally, Electric, another category with a sole platform, the Livewire electric motorcycle. 93. You'd expect the oldest Harley-Davidson club to be in the United States, given that it's an American brand. However, Prague in the Czech Republic has hosted the oldest Harley-Davidson club in the world since its official registration with the Ministry of the Interior in 1928. That makes 93 years since its inception, surviving the Great Depression, Nazi occupation during World War II, and communism during the Cold War. 48. When last disclosed by Harley-Davidson, the median age of Harley-Davidson buyers had risen from 50% being less than 35 years old in 1987 to 48 years old in 2008. Harley no longer reports the average age of its ridership. Alright, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this next one, because reading this script is getting a little bit boring and tiresome. So our next number is 25,356,221. If we keep that same average age of 48 from the last time that Harley disclosed its average rider's age, and the average gender ratio of Harley riders being 80 to 20% male to female, and then we add up the combined weight of Harley buyers in 2021, because that's the last full year, you get a figure of 25,356,221 pounds. And the average 48-year-old male at this time is 207 pounds, and females is 176. So basically that's a lot of rides to Applebee's. 260,839. In 2013, Harley-Davidson produces 260,839 bikes, 100 years after their 1903 founding. Over 250,000 bikes produced, and that's not 250,000 cheap scooters, that's 250,000 premium bikes. Oh, and I might as well throw in another figure, 350,000. Harley's best year ever was 2006, with 350,000 bikes produced. I predict now, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think you'll ever see that many V-twins produced by Harley-Davidson ever again. 10. Harley has 10 principal operating properties as of December 31st, 2021. The corporate offices in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Product Development Center in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, powertrain manufacturing in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, production and painting of motorcycle components in Tomahawk, Wisconsin, motorcycle parts fabrication, painting, and assembly in York, Pennsylvania, a plant for the production of certain Asian and European markets in Rayong, Thailand, a plant for the assembly of selected models for the Brazilian market in Manaus, Brazil, a corporate office in Chicago, Illinois, a wholesale and retail operations office in Plano, Texas, that's just a few miles from me, and a retail operations office in Reno, Nevada. 134,413. Harley increased its North American motorcycle retail sales from a pandemic low in 2020 of 110,127 to 134,413 units sold in 2021. 49.8. The Grand Touring category outsold all other model categories for HD at 49.8%, the next highest being the Cruiser category. 228 million. Apparel sales for Harley-Davidson in 2021 amounted to nearly $250 million at $228 million. This must be why people call Harley-Davidson a clothing company. 30.6. Harley still leads motorcycle manufacturers in the US for market share with a percentage of 30.6, followed up quite closely by the motor vehicle juggernaut Honda. 758. The average weight of a Harley-Davidson in the current lineup as of this video, including trikes, is 758 pounds. The 2022 CVO Road Glide Limited comes in at a staggering 963 pounds. That's 160 pounds heavier than a Honda Goldwing with an automatic transmission. I don't know why that boggles my mind so much, but that's nearly half a ton. If that thing falls over, you're basically going to have to be a power lifter to get it back up. Okay, this next one makes me really sad. 15. The Harley-Davidson brand is projected to have the lowest sales in 15 years as of September 2022 due to global economic challenges such as supply chain disruption, inflation, and recession. So I think I'm going to wrap it up on that last figure. I hate to end on a bad note, but right now Harley is facing some challenges. Everyone's facing challenges. Every company is, due to the supply chain issues, the recession, inflation. But they have some unique challenges that maybe other motorcycle companies aren't facing because they've basically banked on the heritage of their company for so long, which I don't really blame them for. But it does look like right now they have the best electric bike out there. I know that's debatable, but they've put a ton of money into it, and from what I could see, they produced a really good bike with the technology that's available right now. But whether or not people will buy that is, it remains to be seen. I gotta admit, I'm not really the biggest Harley-Davidson fan, or at least I wasn't. But after doing all this research and talking to my friends who own Harleys, I think I'm a fan at this point. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a Harley. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you hated the video, leave a comment and let me know why. Until next time, goodbye.